It's impossible to hear. Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
But I ask the Prime Minister again, even though she's not a member of the committee, is she aware of the fact that the committee has received evidence from Mr Glenn himself that A, he didn't give money to New Zealand First? I know these facts hurt, but we're going to check.
Order.
I know these facts hurt, but we are going to choke some people with facts soon. Now, get back to my point.
Order! We'll have the question.
Thank you,
And we'll
Madam
have it so everyone can hear it. Right Honourable Winston.
That's all I want, the public as well. Madam Speaker, is the Prime Minister, although not a member of the Privileges Committee, aware that it's received evidence from Mr Glenn himself that A, he gave no money to New Zealand First, 2, he gave no money to Winston Peters, which were the allegations made all the way through until this hearing?
The Right Honourable Winston...
Speaker,
the Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, it is my understanding that those were the allegations that were made, and when they were put to Mr Peters, he denied them.
Supplementary question, John Key.
Why didn't the Prime Minister tell the public that she knew that Owen Glenn had told her that he had given a donation to New Zealand First? Why did she keep it secret?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, I'm not in the habit of rushing out and announcing that I had a private conversation with A and a private conversation with B. As far as I'm concerned, having had those statements made to me, I checked them out. I assumed there may be some innocent explanation.
Supplementary question, Right Honourable Winston Peters.
But I ask the Prime Minister, so in her experience and that of her senior colleagues and other senior members of this House, she has ever seen a situation where members have come to the Select Committee with their minds totally made up by their leader and who have gone public over and over again during the time of the hearing, which is a contempt of the Privileges Committee, and how could one expect anything other than a kangaroo court from such biased members?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, as I said in response to an earlier question, it has concerned me that the Leader of the Opposition has placed his members on the committee in a very difficult position. Madam Speaker, I think it's important that the processes of this House are dealt with integrity.
Supplementary question, John Key.
Why didn't the Prime Minister tell the New Zealand public that she had conflicting sides of the story being offered to her by Mr Glenn and Mr Peters, when she would have known that it was a serious issue, so serious that when Mr Glenn told her, she rang Mr Peters in South Africa because she knew that if a minister in her government, the Minister of Foreign Affairs, accept a personal $100,000 donation at a time where he was appointing someone to Monaco, it was a very serious matter. It was just the reason, the blindingly obvious one. She didn't want to drag her government down, so she lowered her standards.
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, if the member cares to look back past his transcript of this question time, he'll find he's contradicted himself so often he too will be embarrassed by that. But, Madam Speaker,
order.
The fact is that there was a conflict of evidence. Both men, I believed, were genuine in their belief, and I hope that the Privileges Committee will get to the bottom of it.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Dr Michael Cullen.
Madam Speaker, is the Prime Minister, in the light of these references to conflicting evidence, aware of any reports of a senior politician being asked whether any member of the National Party had met Lord Ashcroft, saying they might have, repeating that answer, and then when asked whether he had, saying, "Oh yes, I did"?
Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker.
Order.
Madam Speaker, of course those deliberately misleading answers were given by John Key, Madam Speaker, because he didn't want to tell the truth that Lord Ashcroft, major funder of the British Tory Party, major funder of John Howard's Liberal Party, and undoubtedly looking for a way to fund the National Party without the money coming near New Zealand, had visited him secretly at his Parnell residence, Madam Speaker, and the first time Mr Key was asked about that, his instinct was to try and throw the reporter off the scent.
Supplementary question. Order. Order. The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
Could I ask the Prime Minister as to whether or not she's aware of any case of a senior politician claiming not to have met the exclusive brethren, only to be exposed by television and photographs of that? And what is it about the star witness's evidence today that has the National Party wanting to decide before they hear him, not after?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, it's perfectly clear that Mr Key met the exclusive brethren on several occasions before the last election in his capacity as chief money collector and donations collector for the National Party. To come to the second part of the question, Madam Speaker, it does concern me that the National Party made up its mind on this issue before it heard both sides of the story.
Supplementary question, John Key. Order. John Key.
Sorry, you'll get your chance in a few months.
Order.
Is the Prime Minister? We'll see. Is the Prime Minister aware? Is the Prime Minister aware that Dr. Michael Cullen and Trevor Mallard have been going to social events and actually talking to journalists as well, and telling them, and telling them that Owen Glenn isn't compos mentis, and that his casting into aspersions his character and his memory?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, no, I'm not aware of such things, Madam Speaker, but I'm certainly aware that Mr Key could remember not opening an email he couldn't remember receiving from the exclusive brethren.
Supplementary question. John Key.
Well, does the Prime Minister agree with Mr Mallard and Mr Cullen's description of Owen Glenn? And is that the way that she thinks they should be characterising Labor's big donor?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, that member makes so many wild statements that I would not take it as any evidence that anybody had said any such thing, the fact that he asserted it.
Supplementary question, John Key.
Or would the Prime Minister be surprised then to have her know that I've got a text message from one of the journalists in question saying that Trevor Mallard was saying exactly those things at a function?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Madam Speaker, we're well aware of the members' furtive text messaging between this chamber and the gallery. Perhaps he'd like to disclose the recipient.